I just wanted to take these last few minutes out front, here in front of the light show, to just enjoy it as it's coming to an end in about 5 or so minutes. Since these are the last few moments of the light show. It's lightly snowing out here. It's 10 o'clock New Year's Eve. It's peaceful, it's quiet. Looks amazing with the moving head beams. This whole light show has been an awesome journey, and it's such a peaceful, quiet night with this light snow. Actually, it's starting to pick up a bit, but it's nice. It looks nice with the light show. So nice to be able to just stand here. No, I don't even have the music playing, just to sit here and look at it in the quiet and enjoy the last few moments of this. There we have it. The sequence has ended. It's now at the part where I have all the lights on. It says Merry Christmas. And the signature rainbow effect. Every year, every light show, I always end it with a beautiful rainbow effect with some sort of sparkles overlaid, just because of how awesome it looks. And then some words on the screen thanking everyone for coming to the show, and thanking our neighbors for putting up with us. And there we go. It is definitely a sad moment to see it end, but this is only the beginning. Okay, my microphone was not working. Now it should be working, hopefully. Hopefully you can hear me. Before I start with anything, I'm going to wait for confirmation that my microphone is actually working, so I'm not just sitting here talking. So I wanted to start off the stream with that video just because I thought it was just an amazing, peaceful moment to end the light show on New Year's Eve. Yep, okay, there's the comments, no volume, no mic. Okay, back. Good. All good now. Okay. The stream does seem to have a really big delay today of like 30 seconds or something. Usually it's only like 8 or so. But I'm going to try and be able to read the chat and talk and keep everything together, even though we have this big delay. But it's working now. Okay, good. I wanted to start off the stream with that video just to show the end of the light show. I didn't want it to be super sappy, but I feel like it also deserved its right to be like that, because it has been such an awesome journey all of these years, and to just have it end in a peaceful night like that, it was amazing getting out there to see it. So it was a little bit sappy, but now we can actually move on to a celebration for this awesome light show. I have a whole bunch of stuff planned for this show, and or not for this show, for this live stream. And let me start it out with a celebration sound effect. Is it gonna work? Oh, now it's not gonna work. Are we serious? Oh, I planned so many cool video effects there. Now, maybe? Please. There we go. Yeah, woo, confetti. It's the end of the light show. Let me take a look at, oh, and I also figured out how to get the live stream chat to, wait, I'll find it, show up right here on the screen. Because this whole live stream, I will be editing it after to post as a video, just to celebrate the live, or just celebrate the light show. So that way, if anyone is watching this not live, you could see if I'm reading anything from chat. But anything, it's working, everything's working good. Okay, great. So I have a list of a couple of awesome things we're going to be doing. Awesome list of events for today, for this celebration stream. So I have stories for the light show that I can share if anyone's interested. A bunch of awesome stuff to happen with the show. I'm going to be breaking down my thought process behind the entire show as we watch the video of it together. There's going to be a section where I'm going to be ranking my sequences if we get time for that. That's more of like a joke, but we could go through, rewatch all of my sequences ever and rank them. Random light show advice for noobs. That's a section I have in this video. As the year had been progressing, I had just been like, you know what, that's a random little piece of information that I can't make a video about because it's just so random, but I want to share it. So I have this list of light show advice that I've just been collecting throughout this past year for the past light show. So I'm just going to read off random things on that. There's going to be a Q&A. I'm probably not going to answer too many questions throughout the first part of the stream as I'm doing these events, and I'll save questions for the Q&A. So if you do have any questions, wait to type them till then because they might get lost in the chat and I might not be able to scroll back and find them. After the Q&A, we're going to be moving on to the sequence giveaway for the three people are going to win 3 of my xLights sequences for free to use in their light show. And if you haven't entered that yet, you can still enter that giveaway. I have something I'll put in chat if I can find it right here. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Are you going to be in the video then? Yes, your chat messages will be in the video. So let me pin this. How do I pin a message on a live stream? There we go. You can still enter the xLights sequence giveaway. Make sure you are just subscribed to How to Pixel and that you have public subscriptions on. That's very important because without them on, I can't see if you're subscribed. And I've been seeing a lot of comments for people entering the giveaway, but they don't have their public subscriptions on. So I can't tell if you are subscribed or not. So please make sure that you have those enabled so I can check to make sure you're subscribed, because if I do draw your name at the end and you're not subscribed, I will just have to move on to the next person. So it's fair since I said it's only for subscribers. So subscribe, turn on public notifications, and then comment the word giveaway on that video that I just linked in chat right there. Let's see. Happy New Year. Not going to lie, man. Your videos inspired my wife and I to make our first ever talking house. You're the man. Thank you. Noob here trying to learn. Awesome. Hopefully this stream will be just an awesome time together. And then at the end, I have a section for just chatting where we could literally chat about anything with the light show. Now, a few other things. I have a note here on my computer with like a bunch of information so I can remember what to talk about and random things that I might forget. So first, the connection for the stream might drop. It might go down a little bit because our internet is not the best lately. I'm hoping that we could get that fixed. But if the stream does just randomly stop, I will try to reconnect it. So don't leave immediately. Give me a few minutes to try and get it back. The overall effects and video and stuff on the stream might stop working because I have this set up in a very weird way. So first off, a while ago, back in August, I talked about how I'm building my own computer and I was going to make a video about that. And I do have the video files for that. I just haven't had the chance to edit it. But I am running Linux on my new computer that I have set up. So I'm not super familiar with Linux, and it's been a pretty tough journey of getting OBS to work, for example, which is what I use to stream to YouTube. So there might be random bugs where like my video might cut out because I'm streaming my phone video to my computer, and that might have problems. My audio might have problems. It could go disastrous, but cross our fingers it doesn't. So that's something I wanted to talk about. I already talked about this video will be re-uploaded as a YouTube video, so if you can't watch the whole stream, that's okay. Eventually it will be on YouTube as a video. And then another thing I wanted to say is sometimes during my live streams, there's people that like to give super thanks, and I don't expect them at all, but I greatly appreciate it. But I just wanted to say that if you do want to help support the channel, super thanks suck because YouTube takes, I think, 30% of it or something. And someone gave me I think it was like a $50 super thanks a while ago, and I was so grateful for it. And then YouTube just like took 30% of that, which was insane. So if you do want to help support the channel in any way, which I do not expect, I just really appreciate it though. It's better if you just send any donations to PayPal or Venmo. I have it's just Bridgeport's Brightest Lights. I think you could just type it in on there. So if you were gonna do a super thanks, it'd probably be better if you do it over PayPal or Venmo since YouTube sucks. But I just wanted to get that out of the way too. So let's see here. So I think that's everything I needed to cover. I talked about you can enter the giveaway still. So let's just get the stream started off with random stories that I could share from the light show. So if you do have anything specific that you heard me talk about this year in any video but I didn't elaborate on and you want to hear about it, let me know right now. This would be a great time for it. I have some things right here written down that I could just talk about. Had to join driving from DC to Virginia Beach. Thank you for watching. I hope your trip is going well. So I don't even know where to start because it's just a bunch of random things that I have written down. So I guess I'll just get started right with my thought, or not my thought process. That's a different part, but just what my plan was for this year's light show. So this year I started planning for the light show all the way back in, really it was November of last year while last year's light show was up and running. I had been thinking about having to have the light show come to an end because of many different reasons that I want to make a full video explaining, which I will eventually. But I was thinking I might have last year's light show be the end of the show because it had just gotten so stressful and there was a lot of things going on. But then I thought I only have like a few weeks to prepare knowing that this is the final light show. And if I am making one more light show, I want it to be the best light show possible. So I decided one more year so I can have a whole year of planning, coming up with the best effects possible to make it just something magical. So really the thinking of and planning for this light show started back in November. And out of everything for the light show, there was only one thing I wanted to do, and that was light up the sky with DMX moving headlights. I have been wanting to add those into the light show forever, but I just didn't have the opportunity. So that's how the light show started for this year for planning, is figuring out how can I get moving heads in the light show. This is the final year. I need them in the light show. So yeah, that was the main thing I had been thinking of. And an opportunity presented itself. Actually, I think this was before November. I had Temu. If you don't know Temu was like a website where you could just buy like Chinese products and other products for like cheap prices. Reached out and they wanted to do a sponsorship video with me, and I was a little skeptical about it. And I'm like, okay, sure. If you really want to do this, that they told me I could pick like any product, $100 or less, to talk about. I'm like, okay, if you really want to do this, then I want a DMX moving headlight because I saw that they sold them. And I'm like, you want to do the sponsorship? Send me one of those. So they did, surprisingly, but it came broken. And I think I shared this in that video. There was like a chunk of one of the arms that was just like not lined up properly, and it still worked, but I emailed them back and I'm like, this is exactly what I was expecting. Like, Temu has had a horrible reputation from what I've known about just like junk cheap products, and I'm like, honestly, this is what I expected. So I'm like, can you send me another one? And they did send me another one. So I already had 2 moving heads for free show up to me, but they were from Temu. So I was a little skeptical about adding them in the light show because I thought they would stop working, they'd just malfunction. They worked fine throughout the whole month of December and part of November. They were the 2 moving heads in the middle of the roof, if you've seen the light show video. And I was just shocked at how well they held up. I had a dome built for them to keep them safe from rain and snow, but they handled the cold. We had temperatures as low as 3 degrees Fahrenheit. Handled that fine. they're still up there. I have to get them down eventually, and I have to record the behind the scenes video for them first. But they held up fine, so I was shocked that they worked so well. So that's how I got my hands on the first 2 moving heads. But then I knew I wanted 2 other moving heads in the light show, and I think I had made a video asking someone, or asking everyone, like, do you know any good places to buy them for cheap? Because I know they could be thousands of dollars, but I don't also want to pay just a cheap price and then get horrible ones. So I had a guy email me that had some used that he got from eBay, and I was able to connect with him and get those moving heads, which are, I'd say, more to the professional side. Still not huge and high quality, but they are much higher quality than the Temu ones. Those ones are also waterproof or water resistant. I was able to put those out without any covering. They held up just as fine too. All of the moving heads did great. I was very shocked, and I'm very happy that they worked well. So I will be making a behind the scenes video soon to show those off on the roof and how I got them hooked up there. But yeah, so that was my moving head experience. Any thoughts regarding skyward moving lights near an airport? That is a actually funny thing, because I got the moving head set up, tested them out, and I realized these things are very bright, and I am located within 10 miles of an airport. So I was a little nervous, and I actually ended up calling the airport. I don't know how I got the number, really. I found one number and I called that, and then that redirected me to another person, and then I got somehow in touch with ATC, which I don't think is the right number to call, but I got on the phone with some guy, and he was like, oh yeah, as long as they're not lasers, it shouldn't be a problem. And I'm like, okay, if that's all I need to know, then sure, okay. So I didn't get in any trouble for using them, didn't get a knock on the door or a letter in the mail, so I assume it shouldn't be a big deal as long as you aren't right next to the airport. Some things from Temu are amazing. Yeah, it shocked me how amazing they worked out. How difficult was it realistically to incorporate those DMX lights? Also, nice Star Wars lightsaber fight. Thank you. And I can't wait to talk about that lightsaber fight in the next part. But what was the full question? How difficult was it realistically to incorporate them? The hardest part, I'd say, was figuring out how to actually get them on the roof and secure them to the roof. The 2 that were waterproof or water resistant, they weren't that big of a deal. I just built a level surface that had legs coming down that sits on the roof in a certain way, and like I said, it will be in a behind the scenes video eventually. But those were easy to do, but it was the ones from Temu that aren't waterproof. Trying to figure out how to build a structure for them was very difficult, because it has to be a dome. If it has any corners in it, it's going to reflect the light off in a weird way, and it's not going to show up like a beam. And they don't make domes that are big enough to cover the whole moving head. They make products specifically for moving heads you could buy, but they are like thousands of dollars. So my dad and I just had to do a lot of coming up with ideas, and we were able to come up with something with a half of a dome that was just enough for the light to be able to shine in the right way. And so it was a very hard process. First, figuring out where I was going to get the moving lights in general. I feel like it was honestly amazing that the opportunities came to me to be able to find them, from just getting them from Temu and then having people reach out over email that had them available. Programming them wasn't too hard because I'd already done a bunch of research into that. I've always been interested in moving heads, so I was able to program them without too big of an issue. But yeah, just building something to protect them was the hardest part. Currently watching as I'm designing my first ever light show for 2026. That's awesome. The same ones you have were bright enough to shine into our neighbor's front door 2 blocks over, but please share your settings. You could send me a message. Wait, the same ones you have were bright enough to shine into our neighbor's front door 2 blocks over. Are you talking about my moving heads? Are you from the area, and did they shine into your neighbor's front door? Because if they did, I am terribly sorry about that. I spent many nights out there making sure they only point in the air, so I'm not sure how that would have happened. But I'm interested now to know more about that. I had to reach out to FAA, and there is a flight path survey they wanted me to do with a pilot to ensure there isn't any distraction. That's cool. Like I said, I tried to reach out to the airport and get as much information as possible, but really it was just a guy that like didn't seem too interested about it and was like, "Why are you calling? That's not really anything important." And he was really just like, "As long as it's not a laser, it's fine." The ones I have did. Oh, okay, the ones you have shine into your neighbors. Okay, because I was a little bit worried that you were near my light show and somehow my moving heads ended up shining into your window. Thanks, because I'm about 10 miles from the Indianapolis airport. Yeah, so it wasn't too big of a problem. But yeah, so I want to get this behind the scenes video out soon for the whole display, but it's already past the light show season. So normally I have it out during the light show. And I went to record it December 21st, went to record the video, and as I was recording, a major snowstorm started coming over us. I saw it coming up, and I'm like, I need to get this video done ASAP, because once there's snow on the display, I can't record it because you just won't be able to see the display. And I didn't record it in time. So it's supposed to heat up a little bit tomorrow. The snow might melt enough where I could finish that video, but if it doesn't, it could be a few weeks until, or even a couple months until I get the full behind the scenes video out. So I'm working on that. That's why I want your settings to figure out how to not have that happen. Lol. Okay. So, yeah. So basically with the moving head programming, I had them in xLights set up so I could visualize them and see what they would look like. And I just never programmed them to point down because they have the ability to point down, but except for one scene, but I'll talk about that when we watch the light show together. But I just made sure that in the visualizer, or in like the xLights where you could see your display, I just made sure that they never are pointing below like 180 degrees. That's all I did, or 90 degrees or whatever. Just didn't point below horizontal. Let's see, what other interesting stuff. Testing if the moving heads were waterproof was interesting because, like I said, the two big ones were said to be water resistant, but I didn't know for sure, and I didn't know what level, and those ones were so big that there was no option to build anything to cover them. So one day when it started raining before Halloween, I think it was, I just sat them out there in the rain and tested them for 2 seconds. I quickly pulled it back inside, or yeah, that's how I did it, and it still functioned, and I'm like, okay, I'll put it out for a couple more minutes this time and then pull it back in, and I went back and forth for a little bit until I had it out there for like 3 hours just running in the rain, and it held up perfectly fine. And then I tested it in sleet and then snow, and it worked out great. So yeah, no problems with that. Don't feel bad about uploading late. I published last year's and 2022 videos from my display this year. Wow, that's just a little bit later. Hi Nick from the Netherlands. I've contacted you before. Thanks for helping so many people. You got me started in 2025. Is How To Pixel still going to be alive? Yes, that is a really good thing I could cover quickly right now. So How To Pixel, it's not going anywhere at all. The biggest thing I found with this whole light show is I find making videos about it even more fun than the light show itself. So How To Pixel is never going away. I've put so much work into it, I could never just let it go. The fact that we have 11,000 subscribers now is awesome, so thank you guys. But yeah, once I don't have any more videos to make about the light show, I am planning on making just some general tech videos. And I have a couple of ideas, but I have so many light show video ideas that I'm going to be able to make those for the rest of the year probably. But I'll save more of that for the end. This is supposed to be stories about the light show right now, and if I don't have a full word-to-word script in front of me, I tend to go all over the place, so please don't mind that. But yeah, so other stories from this year's light show. So yeah, I tested if the moving heads were waterproof. They were, so I put them on the roof. And then the very night that the light show was supposed to start, I posted the snow apocalypse video or whatever about this. We got hit with a huge snowstorm, and the moving heads were covered in snow, and I was worried that they weren't going to be able to fire up, but I just turned them on, and they were able to push the snow off. They were able to move around. The two that have the domes on them, they didn't have to worry about that at all because they're protected. However, the snow would not come off of the domes no matter what. Like, it didn't generate enough heat to melt it. So if there was snow on the roof, the 2 middle moving heads would just be covered and you wouldn't be able to see them at all, which was a little bit unfortunate because some nights you wouldn't be able to see all of the awesome beams. It'd just be the 2 that aren't covered. So that was a little disappointing, but at least they functioned and didn't break. I had to test the show like 1,000 times this year compared to other years, because with pixels, it's what you see when you're creating the sequences in xLights is almost always what you'll get when you go and look in real life. Whereas the moving heads, they are something completely different because they have moving parts to them. And if I shined a beam and I wanted it exactly in this one spot, I'd then go out and test the show and it could be way off because the xLights visualizer doesn't do as good of a job as showing exactly where they'll be and what they'll look like. So that was a little bit of a problem. The first night I tested the show, I thought the beams were going to be fine, not shining on the ground or anything. But I looked around and they were shining on our neighbors' houses all the way blocks down. And I'm like, no, I cannot have this happen. So I had to go and spend a lot of nights changing the programming, making sure everything stays horizontal or higher so it's not shining in anyone's windows. For the lightsaber fight, which we'll see in a little bit in the video, that took so much time of me walking outside, seeing that it doesn't look right, running inside to my room, changing the programming, re-rendering the sequence, saving it, re-uploading it to Falcon Player, going back outside, testing it again, and then seeing it's still not right. It got to the point where I put my xLights files on a hard drive and linked it to my, or connected it to my laptop so I could go outside with my laptop and change the sequence out there without having to run back inside. So yeah, moving heads do add a huge, what's the word I want to use? They make it a lot tougher to test things and you have to put a lot more effort and work into them. So that is something I wanted to share and I wrote that down. Let me check comments. I read that one. Keep up your training vids, they rock. Thank you. What are you going to do with all of your light show gear? Good question. So I've been thinking about this for a while and I still haven't fully decided, but I'm more than likely going to sell some of it. I think there's a lot of things in the light show that a lot of people could find useful, and if I sell them, it's going to be a lot cheaper for them to purchase them since it's not brand new. They could get some used stuff for cheaper. But I will be keeping some parts of the light show because I do still plan on putting lights up every year. It's just not going to be anything as big. And I'll probably just reuse old year's sequences. So not everything will be sold, but when I do decide what I am selling, I will definitely share on the channel. So if you are interested in looking at purchasing a specific thing, you can find out about that. I'm so happy to hear that because I've been sharing your YouTube videos on all the Facebook groups because this was our first year and you helped all the way through it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the videos. I'm glad that they have been helpful. Maybe xLights lessons. Yep, I do have a couple of xLights videos planned. I talk about this a lot. My videos take so long to create because I just spend a lot of time editing them and coming up with scripts. So if I have an idea, it could be months until it's actually finished. So I always talk about this. I have a list of ideas that's a mile long. It just takes me forever to get the videos out. So I'm hoping now that I don't have to worry about the light show this year, which would consume like 50% of my life, I can now put some of that time towards making videos a little bit faster. I thought his 2 hours xLights deep dive video was basically a masterclass. Felt like I should have paid for it. Thank you. I'm glad that you thought that. I'm glad that the video was that helpful. I think it is now getting a little bit outdated since I made it in 2023. Maybe I'll update that eventually if I run out of other video ideas, but I think that's probably going to stay for now. But I'm just glad that the video could be free and everyone can learn about it. So I'm glad you found it useful. Beginner video series 2026 will be great videos. Yes. Hi Nick from the UK. Watching you made me take the plunge. Good luck to you for the future. Thank you and welcome to this awesome hobby. Completely random question, but is the Mark Rober completely random question, but is that the Mark Rober glitter bomb jumper? Yes, it is. Let me move this off so I can see, so I can share it. Yes, this is the Mark Rober glitter bomb sweatshirt. I'm a big Mark Rober fan. And I'm gonna take this off the screen so I can see, so all of you guys can see me a little bit better. Let's see. I have a few other random light show stories. The weather this year, whew, the weather was horrible for the light show. In New York, we get lots of snow, but more towards the like January to March time of year. In November and December, it's not as much. This year, it just was insane. It started off with that massive snowstorm, like I said, the first night of the show. We had snow for a week or two. It looked great with the light show because everything looks prettier with the snow. And then all of a sudden, just like that, the temperature went up to 40s and 50s, melted, I don't know about 50s, definitely high 40s though, melted all of the snow, and our ground turned to soup because water into the ground makes it mud, obviously, and anything that was staked down, it just all of a sudden lost a bunch of its durability because the stakes could be easily ripped out of the ground with it being all soupy mud. And then we got a windstorm right after that, and one morning I woke up to see Bob the Dragon completely flipped over on its side, and I made a YouTube short about that. And then we got that fixed. It was one night where Bob the Dragon wasn't in the light show. Then the next day I was able to get outside, quickly set it up, and I got it back up and running. And then a few days later, just a massive snowstorm again. And that was the one I was talking about that I was trying to record the behind the scenes for right before. But I didn't do it in time. So now I'm waiting for the snow to melt, and it has actually melted a pretty decent amount. So hopefully by tomorrow I'll be able to record that video. Let's see what other things I talked about that. Getting another funny story I could just share was trying to get the moving heads to the very specific spots for two parts in the light show when I got it on the transformer to make it look like it was blowing up for one part of the sequence, and then also on the ground to light up the bin. That was another one of those things where I had to just run back and forth inside, then back out to try and get it to that exact spot, because changing the moving heads 1 degree could completely shift it when it's shining far away to a different spot. So for that, I actually connected my computer right up to the controllers with xLights so I could live edit things in xLights, and it goes right out to the controller. And that was a little bit of a issue trying to get set up, but I got that working. But that allowed me to be able to like change it by 1 degree and then instantly see the effect. So that took me an hour getting the moving heads perfectly on the transformer to make it look like it was exploding. And we'll see that in the video in a moment. So yeah, what else do we got for comments? Same, love Mark Rober, awesome. Yeah, the weather crazy this year. I'm about 1 hour away from you. Yeah, the New York weather has been just insane, and I hope it won't be as horrible much longer so I can finally record what the prop videos, the full behind the scenes videos, all of that. And then I think I have one other thing that I want to share for just a random story about the light show. If I can read my list and make sure I got everything else. Yeah. I don't think I've talked about this yet, but I had to completely revamp the behind the scenes network stuff for the Christmas light show. Because in the past, I had a whole separate light show router set up and everything was connected to that. And then the Raspberry Pis would communicate to the controllers through the router, then to the controllers. I don't know what happened from the switch from Halloween to Christmas, but that just did not work anymore because it was so much data it was trying to send from the Pi to the controllers that the light show was lagging horribly. It would get about 1 or 2 frames a second, and then it would just freeze for seconds, and then it'd work for a little bit. And I think that's to do with the router just being really old. So what I had to do was directly connect the Raspberry Pi to the controllers with the bridge method that I shared about a long time ago on the channel. So the Raspberry Pi had an Ethernet cable coming right out of it directly to one of the controllers, and then that controller was chained to, and then I had another controller chained to that controller, and then the Raspberry Pi was still on the Light Show network, but it was just a whole mess having to revamp all of this with a week or two before the Light Show started. And I do share that in the behind the scenes video, for at least the part that I've recorded so far, so you will see that. But yeah, so that's just something interesting I had to fix. And I don't know, I always thought the router method was the best method, where everything is connected to the router. But now seeing how perfectly fine everything has been working when it's connected directly together and skipping the router, just going from the Pi to the controller, I honestly think that's probably my new favorite method. So yeah, that's something interesting. Do you create the show from scratch or use pre-build sequences? All of the sequences in my Light Show, nope, that's a lie, not all of them. 99% of the sequences in my Light Show over the years have been created by me. The only one this year that hasn't been created by me was the Magic song, which is for the xLights Around the World video. I used the sequences they created because I just had no time left to make sequences. I was so behind. So I'm like, yeah, this year I'm just going to use that. So that sequence from my Light Show, that one's not going to be sold. I might put it up for free because I don't want to sell something that's not mine. All I did was make a few changes to it for certain effects I didn't like, but 75% of the Magic sequence was created by the xLights developers or whoever makes those sequences. So I'll probably put that one up for free. So yeah, we had to use that method as well. Yeah, that, and I think it's a much better method. I wish I had started using it sooner because I was having problems with the Light Show lagging before in prior years, just never as bad as it was this year. So I don't have really any other stories to share immediately right now. I'll wait a second to see if anyone has any comments or things they want to hear about that I haven't shared yet. But we're going to move on to the next part, which is going to be breaking down the thought process behind the entire Light Show. So I have the whole Light Show video uploaded on my computer here on YouTube, and what I was going to do was just play it through, and if there's like something I want to share, I'll just pause the video right there, share it. It'd be like, this is how I came up with this effect, or this is my thought process behind this. The only problem is I won't be playing the audio with it because YouTube copyright is wonderful. I can't do that. So it'll be just no sound. I'll just commentate as we go through the video. And if you have any questions, you can ask them, and I will answer them as we look at that. So don't see any other questions right now. So I guess we could just move on to this next part. So let me make sure I can get this to load up here. There we go. Nice. You should just see a black screen. And let me make sure this is muted first before I play copyright music by accident. Yes, my computer is muted. Okay. So first off, the video starts with a nice little intro. I think I've started the past 5 Light Shows on YouTube with like this thing that says like Bridgeport's Brightest Lights presents the XYZ Christmas Light Show. And this year I was like, I want to make it a little bit fancy. I found a snow background to add, so nothing insane, but I made it look cooler. And I'm now realizing my screen is being cut off a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Okay. I need to catch up on tour content. Do you have a video of eliminating the routers? I think that's supposed to say I need to catch up on your content or something. I'm not sure. Yes, I do have a couple of networking videos, and they're in a playlist called Light Show Networking with Nick. I'm not sure the exact one you should watch, but I do have one talking about the bridge method. But let's continue on with this. So I'm going to assume that you've hopefully seen part of the Light Show as I get into this and commentate it, because it will be a little bit more helpful, so you've heard the sound effects and music with it. So first off, the intro of the Light Show. When I started programming the show this year, I knew that I knew this was going to be the final year, so I wanted to make the best show possible. Something where you could just be sitting in your car and be like jaw drop, like it's magical. And because of that, I spent so much time on just the sequences that there was about 3 or 4 weeks left, which is not a lot of time, 3 or 4 weeks left before the Light Show was supposed to start. And I was like, wait a minute, I need an intro, and I have nothing planned at all for an intro. So if you've seen the light show, you know that the light bulbs, which are voiced by, and I'll move ahead so you can see them. These light bulbs right here are voiced by my siblings and I, and I have to come up with the scripts ahead of time so we can record them. Then I have to edit them together, add the music, and I was like, you know what? Why don't I just make the intro about jokingly not having an intro? And that is true. So the light show starts out with it starts out with a countdown right here, a little what is it called? Singing face on the screen, and it's just saying cue, or what does it say? Activating epic Christmas light show in 5, 4, 3. I have the moving heads turn on. I have the whole display boot up like it's about to be like a grand entrance. It's warming up, and then it gets to 0, and then nothing happens. And then as a joke, I play a clip from Christmas Vacation, the best Christmas movie to exist. And it's the clip where I think his name is Art in the light show, and he's like, beautiful Clark, and then he says those little lights aren't twinkling, as a joke. And then the light bulb, the green light bulb, which is my sister, she's like, Nick, where's the light show? Why isn't it starting? And then that's when I begin saying, oh yeah, I didn't have anything planned for an intro, so here we are. Wait, so I'm confused. So you're no longer doing light shows? Yeah, I'll cover that again later in the video, but I am no longer doing my big light show at home, but I will still be making videos about light shows. So yeah, we just talk, and actually, I don't think this has copyright music in it right now. Oh, but I don't have it hooked up, so it can't go to the stream. Never mind. But yeah, so we talk about, I jokingly talk about running out of time to create an intro. There's no intro. Then the blue light bulb, which is my little brother, he comes on, and he's like, wait, wouldn't this technically be the intro? And it's just a funny dialogue scene. It's not, I didn't put that much time into it. It wasn't that great. Then after that, it gets to what I call the real intro, which is where we talk about, very quickly, like just information about the show. Welcome everyone to the show. I normally say how many lights are in the show, which this year was 6,680, and then just share information like how to find more information out about the show. And then the green light bulb, which is my sister right here, she talks about some basic rules of the show, just telling everyone to keep their headlights off, keep their radio at a reasonable level. That way we don't have any issues with our neighbors. We've never had issues, but I don't want issues to start, so yeah. So let me see here. Oh, we got some more comments. And why, Nick, do you have any videos specifically aimed at power injection? Yes, I do have a power injection video. You can search that up, on my channel. You'll probably find it. I am gonna wait to just answer the why am I ending the light show stuff till I finish with this part, because I'm once again falling into that trap where I get distracted. So I'll try to do one thing at a time. So yeah, light show rules, and then I always have my little brother do something funny, and he controls the light show by just saying colors, and the light show goes to those colors, and then we actually get started. Now, for the first sequence, I wanted a good big sequence to enter with. I wanted a huge finale, but also something pretty big to start with. And I was struggling to find a good sequence for that, and then I came across Christmas Every Day, which I've used in the light show before, and I'm like, this would be a pretty cool song to go back and use again, and I think it would make a great intro. And I also edited it so it kind of builds up to the start of the sequence. The light bulbs are still, me and my siblings and I, we're still voicing them, and we're like, this is now your time to sit back and relax, enjoy the light show, blah, blah, blah. And with the music in the background, it helps build it up for when it gets to the big part, when it explodes, everything all white, moving heads on, Bridgeport's brightest lights on the screen, which is right about, I think, any second now. Yeah, right here. And it's going to do it right now. And boom, it just lights up everything. And it is such a stunning effect when you're standing there like, wow, that's blinding. And that's what I wanted. I just wanted it to be like, wow. And then at the start of the light show, I think I did this last year too, I just put Bridgeport's Brightest lights on the screen and also the snow globe projection. So this is officially the beginning of the show now. We're getting started. Family like the intro. Not sure what that's supposed to mean. Yeah, so I want to show something really quickly though. I need to get it at the perfect spot. When the moving heads first turn on, it creates this effect that right here. You'll notice that I think I can zoom in to make it a little bit easier to show it too. Yeah, the moving heads create like this blinding light beam that like not the main beam, but it like shines off of it, almost like when you're looking at at car headlights going down the road. It like creates these little ripple lines like across around it, and that the way my camera was able to capture that made it look so awesome, and I'm so glad that it worked out like that. As for how I edit the videos, I always say that I want the end product of the video to look as much like the light show did in real life. And for recording the light show, I've only ever used my phone, and I used my phone again for this video. But it's really hard to capture how bright the display actually is and how just awe-striking, if that's the right word, awe-striking, whatever, how it is really like that. And somehow I was able to use the right settings on my phone to get this effect. And I can also use editing too, like color grading in the end, to make it look as close to the real thing as it did. Now, something you got to be careful of is you don't want to make the video what you wanted it to look like. Like, if the show looked like this thing in real life, but it didn't turn out how you wanted it to, you shouldn't edit the video in a way to make it appear like that. Because then the video is just you're going to be able to tell, oh, he put a ton of color grading, that looks so fake, whatever. So an example of that would be like, if these moving head beams weren't this bright in real life when you looked at them, then I shouldn't edit it to make them look that bright, because I don't want to fake the video. That's just my preference. So I wanted to edit it to look like as close as it did to real life. And the only way I was going to be able to record it to look like that was going to be on a night when it was snowing or raining, because on a clear night, you can't see the beams as well outside. You can still see them with your eye perfectly fine, but a camera especially can barely pick them up. But I noticed from taking pictures of the display that on a night when it's snowing or raining, you could see the beams so much better because they have that rain and snow to reflect off of. So I had to wait for a very odd time frame to record the light show. I had to wait for not much snow on the display, because if the display is covered in snow, then it's going to hide things. Like, you won't be able to see the pea stakes, you won't be able to see the mini trees. So I had to wait till there was minimal snow on the ground, but snow in the air. And it was really tough because I had spent multiple nights like looking at the weather, like maybe tonight's the night, but the display would either be too covered or it wasn't enough rain for the camera to be able to pick it up. So finally, I got this opportunity where it was a minimal amount of snow, but you'll notice if you look at the roof, the snow on the roof looks a little bit like messed up. Like, it's not like flat snow like you'll normally see on your roof when it snows. And the reason for that is I had to go out during the day before I recorded to brush off the lights so you could see them. The domes, I had to climb up on the roof, uncover those so they will shine through the domes. And then the peak of the roof up there, that was also covered in snow. So I literally had to take a shovel up there while standing on the roof at an angle, shoveling snow off so you'd be able to see the lights when I actually recorded them that night. And yeah, you can see them on both sides. So that's why the snow looks a little bit messed up on the roof. It was because I had to shovel it off and move it around so you could see everything fine. And then on the ground too, if I move this down here, you'll notice the ground snow looks a little bit messed up too. That's because the snowbank had gotten snow high. The snowbank had gotten so high from the plow coming by, constantly moving snow off the road. So I had to shovel the bank down, throw it into our ditch to help level the snow out. And this tree, especially right here, it was really hot. The snow was completely covering it, so I had to dig that out too, because since I knew this was the last year of the show, I wanted the video to look absolutely amazing. It had to be done. So when I record the show, I use my phone in manual mode. That way I can adjust like the ISO and the shutter speed, and that gives me full control of how I'm recording the show. And you might find this useful if you're trying to figure out how to get your show to look like this. For my phone, the ISO can go up to 3200, but I found that when you use the max ISO your camera offers, everything gets super grainy. You'll see like little pixels just flashing, everything's really grainy, and it doesn't look good. So if you take it down one level, that allows you to get a really bright looking video, not the brightest possible, but a bright video without graininess. And I'd rather have more clarity than super bright, so I keep my ISO at 1600. I record at 4K 60 frames per second. I record at 60 frames per second because the light show sequences are at 40 frames a second, meaning that I need to record at least 40 frames a second so the camera could capture everything. And the only two options are 30 frames a second or 60. So I go with 60. And then in prior years, I recorded only in 1080p, but when I'm editing and I want to create effects where I'm like zooming in, especially for like the Star Wars sequence video, I record in 4K. That way I can zoom in up to like 2 times, I think it is, or something, and still have 1080p video in the end, if that makes sense. So that's why I choose 4K. And then for the end video, where it's just the main show from this angle, I record only... Wait, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. When I'm recording from this main angle right here, I don't do any editing, so the final video does come out as 4K. So that's why this is 4K. And the Star Wars video is actually 2K, which is between 1080p and 4K, because I only did a little bit of zooming, so it still was 2K quality in the end. So yeah, anything important right now that I should be looking at for comments? Everything's still looking good. I do see it's early and late for you, some of you guys, so if you can't watch the whole stream, I understand if you have to leave. It will be up on YouTube eventually. So yeah, that's how I record the display. The shutter speed I put at the absolute max, and then the focus, that's normally the toughest thing, because if I have it just like one tick wrong, then everything's gonna appear out of focus. And you'll notice, let me get my my monitor to be back the right size on screen here. Let me position this, almost there. Oh, did I get it? Nope, not yet. OBS is being a little bit difficult to work with. There we go. Okay. You'll notice, for this video, a lot of stuff is actually out of focus. The dragon, that's pretty out of focus. If you look at the Toon sign, that's so out of focus. And I noticed this as I was recording, and after the first sequence ended, I stopped the recording to fix it, and then you'll notice in the next sequence, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Now everything's a little bit better in focus. You can see the dragon a bit better, the Toon sign a bit better, but still, I'm recording on a cell phone, so everything's not going to look amazing, and there's still going to be a lot of things not perfectly in focus. But I wanted to make sure that I got the full color of the display, the full brightness, with as minimal editing as possible, and it turned out so great with all of the lights. Let me get it back to where I have the moving heads on, right here. The display itself came out perfect in the end. There's absolutely no color grading, no video adjustments to the display itself. It came out perfectly fine. No saturation changes, nothing. This is the raw video. However, for the moving heads in the sky, those didn't appear bright still. They're still pretty dark. So what I did is the top part of the screen, from about the roof outline and higher, I only color graded that section of the video. So I just realized I could be using my mouse this whole time instead of trying to point at it. So this brightness right here, this is what it looks in real life, but this is not what my camera picked up. It picked up something much darker. So from about this level right here and higher, I color graded it to be, I think I upped the gain like 4 times. I used DaVinci Resolve for color grading. It's a very awesome video editor. I upped it was either the gamma or the gain that I increased. And I made it so that instead of having a hard stop, like right here, it's 4 times brighter, and then right here, a little bit lower, it's 0 times brighter. I faded it down with a mask. So it's 4 times brighter, then 3, then 2, then 1. So it almost fades together to look like it's just one video, which it really is in the end. And you can't tell that it's separate color grading in the top and bottom. The average person isn't going to know that. So I thought that was some fancy camera or fancy editing tricks I did. There are a few parts when the display is blue for some reason, you can see almost a line where the brightness stops. But yeah, I just wanted to share that though, so that, you know, that's how I was able to get the moving heads to look so good. At first, it had to be snowing, and then I did some video editing to just the top part of the screen so those appear brighter. Snow, what's that? We had to buy a machine to make snow, and it's about 120, what am I trying to say? Australian dollars for 20 liters of fluid. Wow. Yeah, someone asked me if I use fog or why don't I use fog. First, I think fog would be a very tough thing to make work to like brighten up the moving heads. Because of the snow we have, I don't think a fog machine would be able to handle the cold. Maybe it would. And it just seemed like a logistical problem for me. Like, I don't know how I would have gotten it up. Well, I didn't know how I was going to get the moving heads up there, but I got them up there anyway. I probably could have gotten a fog machine up there, but I don't know how it would have lit the whole sky exactly like I wanted. So I just didn't do anything. I just let them be. On nights when it's 100% clear, you can still see them pretty decently, but you could definitely tell that the 2 middle ones are Temu moving heads because they're a lot dimmer than the outer ones. But when there's snow or rain, you can't tell. It looks amazing. So yeah, let me continue on though. Now you know how I edited the video and how I made it to look great. So anyway, continuing with the show, this sequence is a pretty decent sequence. I think I did a good job on it. That is also a cool effect too. I just love it so much when the moving heads spin around and come to the front. Right here again, you could see how it creates that like starlight effect where it creates these lines. There is no video editing to that part. That is the raw video because that editing for that box doesn't appear till above the moving heads. So right here, that just looks amazing, and I love how it creates that effect. So yeah, we go through with just some normal effects here. I'm trying to see if there's anything that stands out to me. The chorus, I used a whole bunch of shader effects. I've started learning about shader effects and xLights, and they look so cool. So right now, it's all just normal xLights effects. Like you got a spiral bouncing back and forth with a value curve. But right here, this is a shader effect. I don't remember any of the names of them, but this is a shader effect. This is a different one. This effect too, it just, I can't tell you how happy I am with how great this video turned out. It looks so much like you're watching it in real life. Right here, it creates that effect again where the beams come off of the light. It looks so gorgeous. I think this is the Black Cherry Cosmos shader effect, but with the hue adjusted so it comes out as a different color. Black Cherry Cosmos, that's a very easy shader effect to use, and it looks great. So if you want to start toying around with shaders, I'd recommend looking at the Black Cherry Cosmos one. And then this is another one. And I like this transition too. That was a pretty cool transition I had. I had a fan effect as like a mask on top of it turn to to bring in the next shader effect. I don't remember how exactly I did that. I'd have to look at the xLight sequence. But now this is another thing I want to point out too. The colors of the moving heads. So I originally only planned on using white for the moving heads because I had heard colors with moving heads don't turn out well unless you have fog, unless you have fake snow or real snow. And I thought it would be too difficult to make colors work to still be visible and use colors with the display. Especially since the moving heads have a color wheel, which is a physical wheel inside that spins around to like move a filter over the LED. That also makes it hard too because it can't just instantly go to yellow. I can't just hit a button and say instantly go to yellow. It has to spin that wheel to get where I want it to go. But I did some testing and yellow still appeared very bright. There were only 2 colors that I was gonna, or 3 colors technically, that I was gonna use with the light show after some testing. I was gonna use white, I was going to use yellow, which I did here, and then I was going to use aqua, or like a type of blue, like a light blue color. That one also appeared very well, and I could see it perfectly fine. The problem was that was all the way at the end of the color wheel for both moving heads for me. So I would have to tell it ahead of time to switch to aqua about 3 seconds before I wanted that color. And it wasn't working out, so I'm like, you know what, I'll only use white and yellow. If the light blue color was like closer to the front of the color wheel, I would have used that, but it wasn't. So yeah. So we got yellow here though, and it goes nice with this shader effect. And then this is a shader effect with sparkles, or with a twinkle effect overlaid on top of it. And then I have the text go across all of the screens that say Christmas every day, since this is the part of the sequence where the guy singing goes Christmas every day. Something I wanted to point out that really annoyed me. I'm gonna put this at slow speed so you can watch it very slowly. Watch the text going across the screens. You'll notice this screen right here. Can you not see my mouse? Oh, you can. Okay. Wait, you can't for some reason. Oh, okay, never mind. Oh, it's YouTube hiding it. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure you can see my mouse. When the Christmas every day comes across this screen and on the tree, they're perfectly in sync. But the projector, there's nothing there yet. Still nothing, still nothing. Christmas is all the way on this screen, basically, and there's still nothing here. Now it finally starts here. That is not a programming problem. That is just some sort of odd network issue I was having. The projector that projects onto the snow globe for that prop right there, the Raspberry Pi, there's a separate Raspberry Pi right next to it running Falcon Player in remote mode, and it was just always delayed. I don't know why, and you'll see from most of the sequence that the screen is like a second or two behind, and I ran out of time. I had no time to troubleshoot it or fix it. It was a hardwired connection. I wasn't using Wi-Fi, and I just couldn't get it to sync up. So I don't know why that happened, but yeah, so that's just something I wanted to point out if you ever noticed that. And another thing, too, that I thought was really cool for the snow globe is the way I was able to project stuff only on the globe and not, like, on the house behind it, because a projector is rectangle. You'd think that, like, oh, the words are going to appear behind it, too. What I did was make a submodel for the matrix for the snow globe, and the submodel includes all of the pixels that aren't touching the snow globe. And then when I play a video or an effect on there, I just place the off effect onto that submodel, so any video or text only stays in the part that's not outside the snow globe. So that's how I did that. And I have a video coming up too about importing my sequences, and you'll see more about that when I finish that. Oh, let me put it back to normal speed. It looks amazing, Nick. You have done an outstanding job as you are ending it. You're definitely going out on top. Well done, sir. Thank you very much. That was my goal with the sequence, or with the whole show, make it amazing. We have been going for over an hour now, so I am going to speed this up just a little bit. So yeah, this sequence is definitely one of my top sequences this year. I wanted a big intro for the light show. Are the beams still visible outside with no added atmosphere? Yes, I could still see the lights outside when there's no snow or no rain with my eyes. You could see them pretty decently well, but a camera has a very hard time of picking them up. So yeah, I want to talk about this part right here. This part I love so much. This is where it gets to a part of the song where it's just like really big. That's all I could describe it as. Like, the song is big effects, and the lights perfectly in sync. Whole display goes white, and it creates like this blinding effect that I love. It's like a wow factor. And on top of it, I also have a shockwave at the same time too, with sparkles set to the max. So that goes across, the moving heads move, and then it does it again, but the next color, red, the moving heads stay white because I only use white and yellow for the moving heads. Right here is where you can see the blue that I was talking about. When the display goes max blue, you can see this line right here. See how, like, there's this odd line right here where everything above it is like a cloud, but everything below it is just darkness? That's where that mask starts to fade out and there's no color grading up here. You might be asking, why didn't I just put that color grading effect on the whole display, well, then it ruins the display and it starts to get too bright. Everything gets blurry. So that's why I only wanted it up there. And you can hardly notice this. It's only when the whole display is blue. So yeah, we continue with the sequence, and then it ends, and it moves on to the next one, which is, it's beginning to look like Christmas. So this sequence, not a lot of them, about half the sequences don't have the moving heads in them, and I did that on purpose because I wanted to save the wow factor for them. If I use them in every sequence, it's gonna take your attention away from the display, and you're only going to be focusing on the moving heads, which is cool, but the display is the main thing. The moving heads isn't the main display. The pixels are what make most of the display. So I wanted to make sure there was still a fair amount of sequences where it's only the pixels, and then we could bring back in that wow factor of the moving heads later in a more upbeat sequence. So that's why this one doesn't have moving heads, because this is a slower-ish sequence. If we could continue on, you'll notice I have snow falling on the snow globe. I really loved that effect that I came up with. That's actually a meteor effect with, what is it? Not spirals. The swirl intensity changed. There's not much to talk about with this sequence. And by the way, if you have any questions about the sequences as I am sharing them, if I skip through it too fast, just let me know. I don't know exactly what to cover. I'm just trying to cover the main highlights of the sequence, so yeah. This sequence is a pretty decent one. I didn't put that much effort into it though. It still took me about a week to program, but it was I went through it much quicker. The sequences that are really good, those could take me 3 weeks or more to program. It's not 3 weeks of me waking up, spending the whole day sequencing and going to bed. It's more of like 3 consistent weeks of me spending 2 or 3 hours a day working on it. So yeah, now the next one we have is Never Gonna Give You Up Christmas version. This is oh, I thought I just knocked my microphone off. This sequence is a funny sequence. I always wanted to put like some sort of Rickroll in the light show, and I figured out how to. I found this Christmas Never Gonna Give You Up song, and I'm like, I have to add this. This is pretty funny. So yeah, this is just another sequence. I put a pretty decent a decent amount of time more than the last sequence into this one. Definitely not one of my top sequences, but still a good looking sequence. No moving heads in this one either. Mainly because I was really running out of time and wanted to save the programming time I had to put the moving heads in more important sequences for me. A cool thing that I did with this sequence though is I put Rick Astley with a Christmas hat on the snow globe, so it just makes it even better. Well, while he's doing his like Rickroll dance, I edited a little Christmas hat on him. It looks really cool. Is there anything special with this sequence that I want to share? This is one cool effect right here that I've done it a few times and I really like doing it. So what it is it's this white ball that comes around and then it explodes. So it creates this like swirl effect. It's coming and then it gets to the center of the display and it explodes. The way I did that is I think I went the wrong way. Where is it? Right. Oh, I skipped past it. Yes. Right here. The way I did that is that ball, that is a fan effect with the fan blades set to have no gaps in it. So it looks like a solid ball. And then I put value curves on the X and Y coordinates of it. I kept the, what is it called? The radius very low. So it comes around, the coordinates, the X and Y coordinates get moved. Then when it gets right to that spot, it disappears and a shockwave effect comes on. It's so quick that you can't notice. That shockwave, is there a shockwave actually? Yes, there is a shockwave. The shockwave blows up and underneath that there's an off effect, and that off effect has an in transition for a circle explode. So it's the fan gets there, that turns off, and then that shockwave comes, and to keep all of the effects behind it off, it's an off effect expanding to turn on the whole display. So that's how you will see multiple effects behind it all fade in at the exact same time. Because like this is an effect up here. It's a butterfly effect on most of the display. I have a wave effect on the P stakes. Single strand effect on the candy canes and arches. What are the trees doing? Trees also a single strand effect. Like it's all of these different effects, and I put an off effect on the whole house group with that in transition to make it blow up like that. Question, I'm a noob. If I buy one of your sequences, how do I know where to put the lights on my house, or for that matter, how many lights I need, how many controllers I need, etc. So that is a video I'm working on. It's probably going to be the next video. It's a video about how to import my sequences to your own display. You can import my sequences to almost any display, really. All you just have to do is copy the effects from my models onto models you want those effects on. So you could copy my effects that are on my snowflakes onto your snowflakes. They don't have to be the exact same snowflakes as me. If they're from a different vendor, if they're from a different size, xLights will still render those effects to appear properly. And then like, if there's an effect on the dragon that you like, but you don't have a dragon, you could paste that effect onto a different model, and it will still create that effect just on that model. So yeah, and I'm gonna be covering this more in that video anyway. But yeah, I'm curious how much electricity a show like this consumes. Have you measured the consumption? This year, the light show has taken, or takes, about 8 or 9 amps, I want to say, when everything is on white and when everything is fully on. So that is on a 120 volt circuit. So if you want to do the math, I don't know how many watts that is, but you can multiply like 9 amps by 120 volts. That's how many watts it is. It's like comparable to leaving, I want to say like leaving a microwave running all Christmas. No, I don't know if that's a good comparison. I will say it's not that much because it's all LEDs. It's not a huge difference. You will notice it on your power bill. You will see in December your power bill goes up, but it's nothing insane. Any other questions that I need to answer? I heard that this was his last show for the shows. What's the reasoning? Or last year for the shows. What's the reasoning? I will cover that at the end. Okay, continuing on. Now we have one of the light bulb skits. I like to add these funny skits into the show every like 3 or so sequences. This one is, what is this one about? I can't remember. Okay, yeah, this is to do with, actually, I don't remember the beginning part of it. Let me watch it really quickly with sound on. Oh, okay, yeah. So my siblings, as the light bulbs, they jokingly say, how come I always get to decide what the show looks like? And I don't remember what my response was actually either. But basically, it ends up with me talking about how, oh, I can't remember if I paid the power bill yet this month. And then I have the moving heads shine perfectly on the transformer out front of our house to make it look like the transformer is exploding, because I never told the power company how much electricity we'll be using. So it creates this cool effect with all the lights are on, then all of a sudden it flashes, transformer flashes, and I have it turn on red. So I do actually use a moving head color besides white and yellow. I use red, and it shines onto the transformer to make it look like a fire or something. You can't see the beams there because it's red, but you will see the white beam. So that's why I don't use red, because you can see the white beams right now, but when it goes to red, you can't see the beams at all. But this is something that took forever for me to do. I was standing right here in the garage with my computer, looking out, and I kept slightly changing the positions of the fourth and first moving head to make a point exactly on the transformer. So this is just an effect I created. I really love it. Like, just joking, oh, I didn't tell the power company, we didn't use about how much electricity we'll be using, and then all of a sudden transformer explodes, whatever. And then I continue to joke about it by telling my little brother to go plug an extension cord into the neighbor's house. This is an ongoing joke we've had for a year or two, and he is jokingly like, oh yeah, sure. And then my sister is like, isn't that illegal? And it's just to create like these entertaining, funny jokes. Let's see, 9 times 120, 1080 watts. Did you say 9 amps, 120 volts? Yeah, but that's only when the whole display is on max. Like, all the moving heads on, projector on. The projector doesn't take that much power, but all of the lights everything, and that rarely happens. Most of the time, there's colors. When it's like using the color red or green or blue, that's only 1/3 of the power that white takes, because white needs all of the LEDs inside the pixels on. So that is only the max. Our electric bill is about $120 higher, but we're also running the heat more too. I live in Minnesota. Yeah, that's the same for us too. We have the heat running in New York. Can you make a video on how to put voices in a light show? That is actually a good idea, and I haven't really considered that. I'll put that into my idea book, and hopefully I can get time to get to that. But yeah, I'll definitely include that. So yeah, skit continues, blah blah blah, and then I continue talking about the new effects or the new props we've added, and I say just this realistic snow globe that we've added for one of the new props, and then it plays a clip of Christmas Vacation once again, where they say, "It's a beaut, Clark, it's a beaut." And I also joke about the moving heads being laser beams too. And then also, why is Bob the Dragon in the Christmas show? Bob the Dragon's always been in the Halloween show, so that's another thing I added into this funny skit. That my sister asks, and I say, oh, because I found him this cute little bow and candy cane to add to him. And then my little brother is like, wait, I thought it was just because you were too lazy to take him down after Halloween. So, just some funny jokes. Moving on to the next sequence. Next we have Sarajevo, also known as Christmas Eve, I think, from Trans-Siberian Orchestra. This is one of my favorite Christmas songs, and this is the only song that has been in the display every single year since 2019, when I started the show, before it even went public. In 2019, the show never went public because it failed. But, yeah, so this, I wanted to add this sequence again because it's a tradition, and I'm hoping at some point to be able to edit all, and I'm going to pause that because I want to go back over that effect again. But, I want to one day edit all the videos of me using the sequence in every year's display together into one, so we can look and see, wow, the show started from 500 lights and is now at 6,000 plus lights, and using the same song, here's what the programming looks like as it's improved over the years. So it's just a cool thing to do, that I think is going to be cool to do. And then once again, I have another one of those wow scenes where everything goes on as the sequence starts. Moving heads go on, whole display goes on, and I have some effects on the projector, and it just ends up looking really cool. Now, you will notice that some of these effects I did reuse from last year, mainly because I was running out of time with how much time I spent programming other sequences. So there are some new effects, but some of them are the same as last year's Sarajevo sequence. And I'm going to grab a drink of water quickly while this plays for 1 second. So I will be right back because I'm very thirsty from talking. So I'll just let this play for a second so you can continue to watch the sequence. Okay, I'm back. Let me get my camera back on. Someone just said, have you published any videos? Oh, nope, that's someone else. Okay, replying to someone else. What is the effect on the tree? I'm assuming you're probably talking about this effect here. Are you talking about this one? This is a shader effect. I don't remember which one it is. It is, though, available. It will be available in my sequence when it is for sale. I feel like I had some sort of value curves on it. I honestly don't remember. But the star is doing the same thing as that effect. If it wasn't that one you're talking about, the next one, that's just me manually turning on. Yes, it is. Okay. Yep, that's the one. Where are we in the list? Where are we? I'm not sure what you're talking about. What's the big difference between V3, 4, 5 on the Falcon players? Are you talking about Falcon Pi player, or like Falcon player like that runs on a Raspberry Pi, or Falcon controllers? Because if you're talking about the different Pi versions, like Pi 3, Pi 4, Pi 5. There really isn't a huge difference between them when it comes to Falcon Player. I say that the Pi 4 works perfectly fine. You don't really need the 5. The 4 has plenty of enough processing power. The 3 has one less HDMI port, so if you need 2 projectors, that could be something. I can't really compare them that well though, because I don't know a ton about it. Where are we in the script that was on the list? Oh, right now we are, oh, I have it. I can make it show up on here too. Oh, I didn't know I had that set up. Okay, we're breaking down the light show process. I will speed through the rest of the stuff after those so we can get to the giveaway since we have been going for quite a while. Let me continue on. This sequence, there isn't much super special that I want to talk about, so I will skip past it. Other than the very end of the sequence, I love to do this effect where I just make everything flash as fast as possible. Borderline enough to give you a seizure. I know it's a little crazy, and that's why I have calm songs to compensate like for how crazy the show gets. But it kind of, there's a scene from Deck the Halls, if you've ever seen the movie Deck the Halls, where I think his name is Buddy. He's like out there messing with all of his controllers, and the show is going crazy that he has. And it's such a cool effect, and that's why I like to do it too. Just very briefly at the end of the song, and this song really goes with it too. This is like a very fast rock type song. So right now, oh no, I missed it. Right now is when it happens. So yeah, everything just flashes like crazy. And then the sequence ends. How soon do you start programming new sequences? I started programming for this show in the middle of January of last year. So almost a full year ahead of time. Next we have the song Christmas Time Is Here. This sequence, if I even do sell it, this is going to be the cheapest one I sell. I put very little work into this. This was just a placeholder song for like something nice and calm to give everyone a breather from that seizure they just had from Sarajevo. So what I really want to do with this song is just get all the lights on nice and slow. So if people want to get pictures of the display, it's not flashing super quickly now. Now they can easily get pictures of it. And it's just nice to sit there and look at the lights twinkle to something much slower. So that's what this song is. And then let me see here. I'm going to skip through this too so we can keep moving right along. Next is Magic. Like I said, this sequence, like I said earlier in the stream, I barely did any programming to this sequence. I got this from xLights around the world. What I did was rearrange the effects. I put them on different models and changed them a little bit just because I didn't like how dim they had it at the beginning. Most of the sequence was very dark. I'm not sure what the thought process was behind that, or maybe I just didn't import it the right way. But I made it a little bit brighter because I didn't want it so dark. My favorite thing about this sequence is this looks like one of those sequences where the moving heads are just going to be off. I didn't do any moving head programming. But then it gets to the one part where it starts to build up in this, from this calmer song to this more upbeat song. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, boom, the moving heads are on again. And that is right here. Just like that. And they flash too. So it's like, who says there can't be magic? Like, as the moving heads are going like that. It times itself perfectly with the shockwaves that were included with the sequence. And I have them slowly tilting up too. It just turned out to be an awesome effect. So, yeah. And then I have them continue flashing but come back down. And then this is another effect that I found with moving heads that looks so cool. Not this one, yeah. Was it that one? Yeah, it's right here. They're like moving slightly out of time with each other to create like this wave effect, and it looks so cool. And then it goes off and then it comes back on, and now I have it doing with the light also flashing across them. So you'll see that this one lights up and then it like moves down the line. It turns out to be such an awesome effect. I just love it how it does that. And then it goes quiet, very peaceful, very calm. It's an amazing sequence that the xLights team programmed, and I think I just made it like a tiny bit better by just adding the moving heads into it. How are you mounting your windows to your How are you mounting your pixels on your window frames? You'll see it in the behind the scenes video, but to just cover it super quickly, it is pixel strip like Boscoyo strip. then it has the pixels in that strip, and then I have magnets attached to those strips that are then that get stuck to washers that are glued around the windows and painted white so you can't see them. I'll make sure to show that in the behind the scenes video. How do you mount your moving heads to the roof? That'll also be in the behind the scenes video. Also, really quickly, it's just a block of wood that's flat with legs coming out to keep it level on the roof, and then it's zip tied up to the roof edging thing so it doesn't fall off, and I'll again make sure to show that more. Next we have another talking scene. This one is mainly to raise awareness about how we do a food drive every year for the Bridgeport Food Pantry, and how we also sell LED wands that sync to the show for the food pantry as well. That went pretty well this year. We got a lot of money for the food pantry, a lot of food that we received, but I didn't sell as many wands as I was hoping to. I have like 50 more, and now they're kind of pointless. So I might like sell those, not as for like someone to come to the show, but sell them for someone else to use in their own light show, or I might just keep them. I haven't decided yet. But so this light bulb scene is with us just talking about the food drive coming up on the dates and how people can leave food in the bin, and then we'll take it to the food pantry. We've raised over $300 something and brought a ton of food over to the food pantry for Bridgeport. So that was just awesome. Let's see. In the UK, the Falcon V4 and V5 were the go-to for Pixel controller boards, but there have been a shift to Baldric controllers. Have you had any experience with this brand? Unfortunately, no, because I only tried Falcon a long time ago, and I'm like, Falcon's perfectly fine. Why should I try anything else? If I had a reason to buy other controllers, I would, but I don't now. Maybe I'll try and buy them just to make videos about. If I need to figure out, though, if that would be worth it or not. So, no, I don't have experience with them, unfortunately. I'm just a Falcon person all along, and that's all I can tell you. Is there a lot of power injection in your show? If so, what places? There is a fairly decent amount of power injection. The snowflakes all have power injection, and they're all tied into one big power injection wire. So instead of needing to send up individual wires, I have one long wire that has pigtails throughout the wire that connect into them. The roof has 2 power injections. The tree has power injections. The stakes and trees have power injection. The parts of the dragon have power injection, and that's about it, I think. And you can see this more in the behind the scenes video too when I get there eventually. This part is really funny. So, every night I would have a bin at the end of the driveway right here where these lights are lighting up, and you can't see my mouse again for some reason, I don't think. Okay, now you can. Right here I would have the bin at the end of the driveway down there for the food donation. So if someone comes by one night, they could drop the food in there, and then every night after the show, I collect it. And I was jokingly saying in the sequence, if you can't make it the night we're doing the food drive, you could come by any night and place food in our conveniently placed bin at the end of the driveway that we will now illuminate with over 100,000 lights. And what I do is turn the screen on maximum white. That takes a lot of power right there. I think the whole screen, when it's on white, takes 6 amps, I want to say. And then I have 2 moving heads. The 2 that could tilt beyond horizontal, I tilt them down so they light up that spot where the bin is so everyone can see it. And it's kind of funny just how bright it makes it. So, yeah, that's a funny thing there. That is more power balancing than power injection. Yes, that is true. I always just use the term power injection, though. But I do agree that probably would be a better word. I should probably start using that. Something I didn't cover that I wanted to share is the reason I have a close-up angle of the singing faces when they're talking is because you'll notice in the rest of the show, let me find like a good spot where they're all singing right here. Since this angle is so far away, they're very blurry and they're out of focus because I can't get everything in the show in focus. I have to say, do I want the roof to be in focus? Do I want the ground to be in focus? Or do I want to meet in the middle somewhere? So when they're only talking and the lights aren't doing anything, I thought it would be pointless to keep the camera right here and have them be out of focus when I could just move the camera closer to them so you can see them much better, since really all the lights are doing is just a singular meteor effect. So yeah. Now, onto my favorite sequence right here. And for this one, I'm going to switch to a different video. This is the Star Wars sequence. This one, though, is where I have the camera angles move around. When I'm creating the videos for the light show, I like to have one main video that shows the entire show from start to finish, only from one angle. So it's like you're sitting in your car watching the show. That way there's no distractions. You can just watch it, do whatever you want with it. But then I also like to have what I call the YouTube algorithm appeasing video, where it changes the angles pretty fast. It keeps viewers locked in on the video, like their attention span. It keeps their attention spans on the video with these changing angles. So that way, it just helps keep the retention rate up. It helps my channel get more views when YouTube sees, oh, they like this video. We'll recommend more videos. But I don't want all of my videos to be like greedy trying to get YouTube views. So that's why I like to have the one video where it just shows everything from one main angle so you can watch the whole show if you like. Plus, with the different angles, this video turned out amazing. The way I record the different angles is I basically write down ahead of time, I want angles here, 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 here. I want an angle from the left side of the display, from the right. I want an angle showing just the screen, all of these. And then I'll go and record the whole sequence from that angle. So like right here from this side angle, I recorded the whole sequence from this angle. I recorded also the whole sequence from this angle. And that way, I have 5-minute long videos of the whole sequence in 10 different angles. Then I can go and edit them and say, oh, well, I think it should be this angle at this part. So I'll only show this video, and then I'll only show this video. That way, I'm not planning it ahead of time. And if I plan ahead of time and only record the sections that I plan on using the video for, then I might be like, oh, well, that didn't turn out how I liked it to. So that's why I got all of these angles. I have full videos of them, so I could switch through any angle I want. And like, if in one angle a car drives by, I won't use that angle while the car is there. That way, it's not something that's distracting. The Falcon is an ultimate and indestructible card. However, they are getting harder to purchase in the UK. We use them on scenery on cruise ships and theaters, but the Baldric seems to be easier to get. That's actually really interesting. I did not know Falcon controllers get used for other things besides just hobbyist light shows. So that's cool. But so this sequence, now to talk specifically about the sequence, this is a Star Wars sequence where I combined multiple Star Wars songs and had some really awesome ideas for them. You may be noticing that this year there was a lot more Star Wars in both the Halloween and Christmas light shows. I did Star Wars for the Halloween show, Star Wars for Christmas, and that's because over the 2025, towards the beginning of the year, a friend got me addicted to Star Wars. I had actually never seen Star Wars before, and then they told me and some other people, I need you to watch Star Wars. You have to watch Star Wars. So I went and watched a bunch of Star Wars, and they're like, wow, how have I never seen this before? This is so cool and awesome. So now I'm hooked on Star Wars and wanted to add Star Wars in the light show. So the first song is a Christmas version I found of like the Star Wars Imperial March. And then right here, this effect is so cool. I thought, why not have the beams of the moving heads act like lightsabers so they can move around and like hit each other, create sound effects. So I edited a whole entire audio file. I quieted down the background music, and then I found like lightsaber effect sounds online. I edited them all together, and it turned out very awesome. So they like swinging around. It's like, whoa, 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 like the light show or the lightsaber sound effects. And then right here is where the lightsabers actually hit each other, and then it makes the lightsaber hitting sound effect. But when I was programming this, the moving heads, I had to move way faster because I'm thinking of like the one fight scene from Star Wars. I think it's in episode 1 with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul. And like I read how the fight was so fast that they had to slow it down in post-production. I'm like, that's what I want. I want the lightsabers to be moving so fast and whatnot. But then I got outside to test them, and in xLights, it's like they're like going like this. I have them moving all around in different directions. But then in real life, they're really only just like bouncing in the same spot. And I'm like, why is it doing this? The moving heads cannot just instantly get to where you want them to go. They have motors and they take time to move around to get there. So when I tested this, I realized I need to slow down the sequence a lot because the moving heads can't keep up, and they're supposed to be in one spot all the way over here and then all the way over here. So they're just stuck bouncing right between there because they aren't getting to those spots fast enough. So I did have to slow it down. And you will also notice too, right here, they technically do hit each other, but they don't make the hitting sound effect because in xLights, I had the moving head beams chopped off only shining this high up, and I didn't realize, oh, well, in real life, they're going to shine up literally to the clouds, so they're going to hit at some point. So that is another little flaw, but most people aren't going to care. And for this part too, I heavily color graded this part of the video because since no lights are on at all, the camera could not pick up the moving heads at all. It was struggling, so I had to crank up either the gain or gamma again to like 8, I think it was. And I also increased the shadows a little bit too, so you could see the house. That way it doesn't look like just 2 lines floating in a void. You could see, oh, there's a little tree back there. There's a house here. This is on someone's house this is happening. So the lightsaber effect, and then it goes back into the song. And this is sort of like a story. Right now, the lightsabers, they just started having a fight, but the fight isn't over yet, and we pick it up later in the sequence. So we're continuing on. I have it all dark and red to show like Sith vibes because it's all dark and sad right now. And another thing I forgot to comment on too, I was going to have the lightsabers be different colors, like one of them was going to be blue and one of them was going to be red, but then the colors didn't really look that bright, so I figured I might as well just do only white. That lightsaber effect, definitely a highlight. Nice job on that effect. Thank you. Can you see the spots in the clouds? Yes, actually, some nights I've gone up and looked up in the sky, and they will stop shining because they have hit the cloud. So that is really something awesome. I just want to comment on this camera effect right here. This is, oh my goodness, this effect is so amazing. I got much closer to the display than I normally do. And to record this, I had to put my camera in the road. My tripod in the middle of the road. It was like 11:30 at night when I was recording. So I just was hoping no cars would come by. And if one did, then I'd have to like run and grab it and get out of the way. But from this angle right here, it's so much closer. So the camera absorbs the light better. And it allows you to see the snow that's falling. Because like I said, I had to record the show when it's snowing. It allows you to see the lights so much better than the very zoomed. Like right here, it doesn't give you that cool of an effect as it does up close. So I noticed that, and I tried to use that up close effect a few other times. Right here, this one just shows the projector showing Darth Vader saying, "You don't know the power of the dark side." Then we jump to, I think this is the Duel of Fates song. Just some normal sequence effects that I came up with. And then we jump to another lightsaber battle. This is the main one right here. And then I also added in the 2 little moving heads as extra, like, just flashes of lights. I was debating which moving heads do I use for the 2 lightsabers. And I figured probably 1 and 4, the outer ones, because those are the more expensive, slightly more professional ones. Those aren't the Temu ones, so they are brighter. So I figured I'll use those ones. And then I wanted the other ones to light up for this part to be extra sound effects, because now the lightsabers are just constantly hitting each other. They're not just like swinging like at the beginning. They're fighting. Right here, I added this flashing effect where it's like when the lightsabers get stuck and they're holding them against each other, like pushing as hard as they can, and it's creating that sound. But the only thing I'm slightly disappointed about is I made them white, which makes them look like additional lightsabers in the battle. The original plan was the 2 big moving heads were going to be blue and red, or blue and pink even, because pink is close to red. And that way, white is just going to look like sparks. But since I had to change the colors, I never went and changed the little moving heads. It's not a big deal. It's just one of those like little nitpick things that I do. So yeah, the battle continues, and then the one lightsaber just swings around, and it turns off the other one, makes it look like they lost, and they did. So yeah, that, and you'll see it again right here. The left one swings around, hits the right one, and the right one turns off. The left one wins. So yeah, and that would have been the blue lightsaber if I could have changed the colors. Did you use the sound of buyable sequences? I saw that you used the sound of. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. If you could, like, just let me know more what you mean by that comment. Did you use the sounds of buyable sequences? All the sounds in the light show I got from the music online, and then, like, the sound effects, I just downloaded them from random YouTube videos that I saw. And then I edited them all together. And the mix originally, it's almost 5 minutes long. It was only going to be 4 minutes long, but it was so fast-paced, and the transitions between the audio were not great. So I slowed it way down, the transition, so it's like much more acceptable rate, I guess. Let's see here. Oh, another thing I want to comment about too. If you watch the sequence, pay attention to this. You can't notice it on YouTube as much, but in real life you could. I edited the sound effects of the lightsabers hitting to only come out of specific audio channels. So when the left lightsaber got hit and the explosion was on the left side, it would make that sound on the left channel of the stereo audio. And then on the right side, it would come out of the right channel. So that way, when someone's sitting in their car with their bass cranked up and they're right in front of the light show, when these effects are happening, they feel like they're in the show. I just can't, like, say how cool I thought that was that I came up with that idea. So it brings them even closer into the show. These tiny little things that, like, weren't that hard to do. All I had to do was just, in my audio editor, just slide the fader to go only to this audio channel. And now this clash sound effect comes out of your left ear, or comes to your left ear. The boom sound effect comes to your right ear. And it made it feel like when you're sitting in a car, you're right there experiencing this. What's going to happen? Who's going to win? Like, that was my goal. And really, that's the goal with all my shows, is just bring it to life. Why not use Dolby Audio outside your house? Yeah, that would have been a good idea. Did you use the songs that were whole buyable sequences, or did you just find it on a platform? So this sequence I didn't buy. I created this sequence, but for the audio, I just got, like, each audio track separate and then added them together, if that's what you're wondering. We used the Falcon cards in a bar install with am I reading that number right? 408,000 plus pixels, 18 cards on, I forget how to, SANCN data. I think, isn't that some type of ArtNet data, if I'm right? Maybe I'm not, I don't remember. And ran them through Magic Queue. Some of these sequences would have been epic as a show. That's really awesome. Okay, so continuing on. Oh, right here too. Yeah, I forgot. I did make the moving heads appear yellow only at the end for some reason. I have no idea why I did that, and it was too late to go back and change it, but you'll see that color wheel effect happen because they light up red for a half a second. And that's because on the color wheel, it goes white, red, yellow, and then the rest. So you'll see, I have it on super slow speed. Look down at, they're white, then red, then yellow. And that's because the color wheel had to spin to get the yellow. So, yeah. So then after that, we skip to this song. I can't remember the name of the song, but it's like an epic song when Luke Skywalker is just looking off into the sunset. And then I have another close-up angle, except from the side. The snow looks so good from this angle. I have the sunset picture from Tatooine. I think, yeah, that's the planet it happened on. Tatooine, if I remember correctly, where the sunset happened. And then it moves on to the victory song from episode 6. It has this play, nothing too fancy with this. And then that close-up angle, again, looks so awesome with the snow. Really love it. And then it continues on. Then we have the credits song that plays at the end. And then, like, I have the moving heads flash on for, like, the booms in the song. Or, nope, not the booms. That was the floodlights that flash for the booms. This was for, like, the da-da-da-da, like that part. And then close-up angle again, snow looks amazing. I will say the quality probably looks horrible on stream since I'm live streaming this. But go watch the video after, it looks amazing. And then Star Wars, and one funny thing I do want to say that kind of did annoy me in the end, but I couldn't fix it. Star Wars comes up on the screen. You'll notice right at the end, someone was walking right there at the bottom. They were walking on the road, and my camera is like on the other side of the road. And my camera caught them walking in front of the display right at the end. You probably won't even notice it. You can still see them walk across the display. But like, watch the bottom right. That person just walks across, and I was out of time, so I couldn't re-record it. But, so, yeah, that kind of annoyed me a little bit. It's not the person's fault. He's just walking there minding his business. But, yeah. So, that's the Star Wars sequence. Let's continue on with the rest of the sequences. Lava Chicken. It's Lava Chicken. I had to add this from the Minecraft movie. I thought it was so funny. This is just a goofy song. This whole section of the show right here is just songs from popular movies and stuff. I found a version that also included some of the like memes like Chicken Jockey and Diamond Armor full set, all of that stuff. Probably most people don't understand those jokes, but I knew a lot of the younger audience that was at the show would really appreciate those. So that's why I added those. I'm just going to skip through the sequences. This is all basic xLights sequences with some fancy value curves, color curves, no shader effects. This was actually the first sequence I programmed the moving heads to. So this was my first bit of moving head programming ever. So it might look a little bit rough compared to the rest of them. But yeah, any new comments? Let's see. How many pixels can you use before you need to power inject balance? I'd recommend watching my power injection video about that. I cover that more, and I have more of the answers there. I don't remember I don't remember the common rule of thumbs right off the top of my head. Oh, like you got it off of xLights sequences. With the sequence, I'm still not sure exactly what you're talking about with the sequence. I have 2,744 lights in my first display, first year. That's awesome. Why was your frozen with a really bad sound? I'm not sure. Are you using a certain type of pixel to achieve the white? It appears more crisp. Are you talking about in the Star Wars sequence or just in general? If you're talking about the Star Wars sequence, especially right here, this is again, the Black Cherry Cosmos shader effect, but only with the saturation, I think it's the saturation, yeah, turned all the way down, so it only is white. But they're just normal WS2811 bullet pixels. Yeah, so nothing too fancy. Half of them are regulated, half of them are resistor. I don't even know. I don't care or pay attention to that when I buy them. I would like to make a video about that eventually, though. And then one of my most favorite sequences that I created this year, Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters. Again, this is a song that a lot of the younger audience really appreciated. I loved being able to like hear everyone sing along outside the light show with this. Is there anything, I'm trying to think if there's anything super crazy with this sequence. I feel like I just did an amazing job coming up with the effects. This part right here, this is another shader file or shader effect. This is where the song gets calm and it's building up, and I have the whole display turned golden, since that's the name of the song, and it gets brighter like right there at that part. It's dimmer, and then it fades into a little bit more brightness to like add a little bit wow factor to it. And then the moving heads start going up. They're golden, of yellow, but golden. They're golden, of course, because of the song name. And then when they say we're going up, 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 I have the moving heads move up, 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 just because, and the whole display actually, up, 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 there you go, right there. Everything goes up with that. When they say golden, I have all the lights turned on yellow / golden. I really like this. This was a single strand effect on a lot of the house. I'll come back to the Megatree in a second, that's something else. But it was a single strand effect on the house, bouncing all around. And I got that from one of my older sequences. It was a Halloween sequence. I can't remember the name of the song. It's like, bang something from, I don't know. But like everything is bouncing around crazy, and I really wanted to create that effect again, and I hadn't had the chance to, so I'm like, you know what? Why don't I try doing that right here? So everything bounces around, and it looks really cool. Now the Mega Tree, that took me a while. That is an awesome effect right there. What that is it's a pinwheel in different spots of the Mega Tree. So right here, the pinwheel is all the way to the left. It's in, oh, and my mouse went invisible again. The pinwheel, I don't know why I can't get my mouse to stay. Anyway, the pinwheel's on the left side of the tree, and then it just does one single arm across the tree at a slight angle. Now the next one is at the top of the tree, swings around, then the other side of the tree, and with effects playing in the background as well. So it's just a pinwheel bouncing around in all directions. So it's like that single strand effect, but with extra, it looks cooler by doing this extra thing by making it a pinwheel. And then the Mega Tree, let's see, right here, this is like 4 spiral effects all overlaid on each other, and it turned out looking really good. I changed the direction, the angle, mixed them up. It looked really cool. Let's see. Frozen had a bad ending. I'm not sure what you mean by that. In general, for the white lights. Yeah, the white lights, just normal pixels. It might have been I found the perfect settings for my camera or for my phone, and it made it look right, made it look amazing. And then, hi, pay attention. That's my friend in chat. Thank you for watching. Yes, I will make sure to pay attention, not get distracted. So let's see, continuing on. So Golden, the song goes back to calm, so I have calmer effects now, slowing it down. Then the golden lights start to slowly fade in. It's a really long color curve, so everything's pink, blue, but now it's fading back to yellow very slowly. Moving heads kick back on, looks really cool. And then it's a little bit whitish too, and then it really turns golden. And then boom. And now we're back to everything bouncing around. The moving heads, I had to do a lot of adjustments with those, because then again, it was one of those things where they couldn't move fast enough. They weren't getting to their positions with enough time. So I just did a lot of programming to get them moving way ahead of time, so they're moving already when they turn on to make them look better. Let's see here. I learned a lot from you over the past 2 years. Thank you. Did you enjoy doing Halloween or Christmas shows more? We have a lot more traffic people show up for Halloween here, it seems. For the end product, Christmas 100%. I love Christmas way more, but honestly, I've enjoyed programming the Halloween show more because there's less to it. Not because it's like easier, but because I have to be more creative with the props I have. There's only like a couple props, so I have to come up with more creative effects, whereas when the display is this big, I started to just put a lot of whole house effects on, and I had to stop myself multiple times throughout the year and be like, you're kind of wasting your props. You should do more per prop programming instead of programming the whole house. Yes, whole house effects look good, but doing it per prop also looks a lot better too. Let's see. Also, I have much easier time with music for Halloween. The K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack sequences were a huge hit at Halloween. Yeah, I really wanted to add, what's the one song from K-pop Demon Hunters? Nope. Your Idol. I wanted to add that for Halloween so badly, but I would have lost the whole week of programming that I could have put towards Christmas. So I was like, Christmas is more important. I'll do Golden for Christmas instead of Your Idol for Halloween. I don't know who Pickleboy6419 is, but they're asking for a shout out. So hi, thank you for watching. Your free sequences on xlightsequences.com Frozen had a really bad end. Oh, so that one. I'm not sure if you're talking about the sound or with the sequence itself. That sequence is free because the programming was good, but the ending of the song, I edited those Frozen songs, so it was kind of hard to find the music for it. And I'm like, you know what? I'll just make it free at this point. So yeah, I don't know if you're talking about the sequence itself, the programming, or yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, give me one moment, please. Okay, so yeah, Golden, at the end, this last effect here at the end was my most favorite thing ever. 1 second, right here. Everything is bouncing around. It looks so amazing. This, I don't even know where to begin talking about this. So first off, everything has a single strand effect on it. The snowflakes bouncing all around, roof bouncing around, everything. It's a single strand effect with lots of other sparkles happening in the background. But the moving heads, what I did was just program them to stay in one position this whole time. They don't move at all. It's just the light flashes back and forth. Like number 1 is on, then off. Then 2 is on, then off. Then 3 is on, and so on. And it just bounces with everything. It looks so cool how the beams met in the sky. So yeah, that right there, top best moving head effect I've ever done. And then let's see. I haven't done any lighting yet for me. It's mostly inflatables, regular Christmas lights, scene projectors, and fog machines. Halloween is my holiday. It takes more effort because of the projectors. Yeah, that's fair. I know a lot of people that like Halloween way more than Christmas. And projection seems really cool. I always wanted to do like house projections, but my house isn't really big enough for it. So maybe one day down the year, many years from now, if I make a light show at my own house, but whatever. Now moving on, the ending. I'm trying to speed this up here because I really want to get to the giveaway. We've been going for 2 hours, but for the ending of the light show, I was debating, do I make it a grand, massive, awesome finale with an upbeat song? Do I put in some sort of inspirational, sad message or happy message? Do I do a calm ending? Do I do a happy ending? This is the final thing I get to do for the light show. What do I do? And I decided, why not do both? So I start off with talking about that this next sequence is going to be the final sequence of the show, and it's a whole mix of songs from the Polar Express. I saw it made on YouTube. It is just an awesome mix. The guy who made it did amazing. And I think I have the name of it. Yeah, and the timestamps in the description, it has his name, so you can go check it out. It's such a happy, sappy, sad song. Like an emotional roller coaster. It starts off happy, then there's like sad, calm parts. And my goal was to like almost bring a tear to the eye because of how pretty it is, but then be like, psych, that's not the end of the show. We have an upbeat song because we can't end it calm like that. So that was my thought process. So we have this happy, sad song right here, the Polar Express. It's slower at some points, faster at others. This is a really cool effect right here. What I did is take 2 meteor effects, and one of them is only on half of the display, the top half. The other one was on the bottom half. And it has a color curve and a value curve on the speed. So it slows down right here, and then it speeds up here with more meteor effects in it. And actually what it was, it's a bar effect on the whole house. It's one bar effect with colors going across the house. That's what has the value curve. And then the meteor effect, that's just black. So that's really just turning off pixels. So it's a bars effect with then 2 meteor effects on top of it. This is a shader effect. Once again, Black Cherry Cosmos. I think that's the effect, or the shader effect. It's my favorite shader. Everyone uses it a bunch. Everyone that uses shaders uses it a bunch. I use it a bunch. Then the sequence starts to build up right here. It gets to one of the more upbeat parts. I like how that was another one of my favorite moving head effects. Everything just boom explodes again, sort of like it did at the beginning. How long do I plan to stream for? Honestly, I have no idea. And I guess until I feel like finishing. But I will be doing the giveaway next though after this. So if anyone's waiting for that, we can get to that. Sequence. I don't really know what to comment on it other than just cool effects that I came up with. Nothing out of the ordinary. A signature thing for me for the light show is doing rainbow effects towards the end of the show, because I just think rainbow is the coolest effect. So I already start to ease into that, making people think, oh, it's a rainbow effect. It's really coming to the end of the show because he always does rainbow at the end. And then this effect. The moving heads look so cool as they slowly expand. They, unfortunately, don't line up perfectly. You can see right here, I wanted them to all meet at one spot. but due to how they're sitting on the roof and how the two outer ones, they have a slight tilt. Like the whole base is tilted to allow water to drain off of them. So it causes it to not line up perfectly. Let's see here, continuing on. So a rainbow effect, and then the song builds up once again here. I have a very flashy part as the drums get like super loud right there. It looks amazing. You really should listen to it with the music afterwards. And it continues to do it again with the moving heads. Sequence continues on. A big flash right there with the drums. Yep, right there. And then sequence continues on. And then the final rainbow effect as it comes to the end of the mix. And then it gets super bright with a plasma rainbow effect. The way I did this one is I used the plasma effect with the effect preset colors set to the rainbow one, added a sparkle on top of that, or a twinkle effect on top of that. Everything fades to white, and then it fades out. And right now the music is so calm. And I have the moving heads turn on because now this allows you to see the moving heads in the sky with no other lights other than this tiny amount of twinkling lights. No other lights to drown them out. You can only see the moving heads along with a little bit of flickering for like I think it's the piano right now. And I really did achieve my goal. While I was showing people this before the show actually went live, they were like kind of tearing up because of how sad it was. And then a slow fade out. Everything starts to go dark. And then after the dragon finally turns off, that seems like it's the end of the show. But then my little brother comes on as one of the light bulbs and is like, wait. We can't end the show like that. And they joke about like how, yeah, it brought a tear to their eye. And then I'm like, you know what? You're right. We can't end it like that. We have to do an upbeat song. And for the final upbeat song, I chose a Christmas version of the YMCA. Now, how did I decide this song? I spent a lot of time thinking, what do I do for the real final song now? Like, I found this awesome instrumental mix, but I can't find a good song that I've never used before. Like, there's too many options, it doesn't look right, or it's already been used before, it's nothing new. And then I'm like, why do I have to reinvent the wheel? I don't have to. And I was watching one of my old shows from 2020, and I saw the Christmas YMCA song, and I saw the programming, and I'm like, the song is so cool, but my programming back then was just so bad, basically. There's no other way to put it. And I was like, this is such a funny song. Why don't I just reuse it? And I can make the programming so much better. So that's how I decided to use Christmas YMCA. And yeah, so this one is really cool. I picked mainly just one color to use at a time for this main verse part. And then let me go back here so I can continue playing with this. So yeah. Other than the floodlights, which I don't know why I decided to have it be the opposite Christmas color, but it turned out looking fine. And then, yeah, it continues back with this. And I like how I have just one color, and then it switches to green, and then it'll go back to red. So white and green, and then white and red. Just not too many colors, not trying to, like, go crazy. And then when it gets to the chorus, it's the real rainbow effect this time. The real final end of the show rainbow effect. And then, let's see, normal sequencing. I like this part right here. I put twinkles on almost every prop, twinkle effect. That turned out looking pretty cool. Continuing with the show, and then more rainbow. And then another rainbow effect. This one is a bars effect with rainbow, and then the meteor effect again going down as black to turn off pixels, and it flashes, and that's the end. Full white, and then we come on saying Merry Christmas. I wanted this to have, like, if I had fireworks, I wanted fireworks to go off. So I found some fireworks sound effects, and I'm like, why don't I try and play those with the whole sequence, or with the end of the sequence, make it sound cooler, make it look cooler. There's fireworks on the screens. You can't really see it, but there's some on the projectors. And that ends the sequence. Then it goes on to the screen where I always put the year and say 2024 Bridgeport's Brightest Lights. And since this is the final show, I put on the screen also thanking everyone for coming, and I'm glad we can make their Christmases so much better. And then as a joke, I also say a huge thanks to all of our awesome neighbors for putting up with us every year. And that ends the show. That is the whole show and a whole bunch of my thought process explained with it. So, oh, I clicked the wrong scene. Okay, we're back here. Let's check out comments. Do you loop your show constantly throughout the night, or do you do a single show a night, or how do you schedule it? It loops every night, so it starts at 5 p.m. and then depending on every year like I try to end it with the end of the loop, not just end it in the middle of the loop, but if it ends with like 20 minutes still till the end of the loop, then I will just like have a graceful stop because I don't want the show going on too late. But if it does end perfectly with the loop being pretty close in time to when I want the end of the show to end, then I will do a graceful loop, so it will finish the entire loop. So on the weekdays, it finishes the whole loop, but on the weekends, since it runs for an extra 30 minutes, it messes up with the time, so it ends at, like, in the middle of the loop. I figure one of the songs I want to do for the light show is Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses. I did do that one year, yes, I really recommend that song. That typically gets me in the mood to start decorating for Christmas. It's a 2-week endeavor, yes. We set out to repeat for a few hours, then we schedule in some downtime sequences that are basic sequences without music. We didn't want our neighbors to hate us. Yeah, that's fair. I thought about that at the beginning, like way in the beginning when I started the show in 2020, 2019, well, not 2019. That was like a fake year. But in 2020, but none of my neighbors really seemed to care. They really enjoyed it, so I was like, I think it should be fine. And it's not like I have speakers out there playing music. It's only in the car radios. So as long as someone isn't blaring their radio, it's fine. Good idea to space out some with just animations. Yeah. So, yeah, that finishes it. Wrong button once again. Okay. My bad. Did not mean to hit that button. We're just gonna move right on now to the sequence giveaway because I've been streaming for 2 hours. I probably won't do ranking sequences in this stream. I could save that for another time. I'm sure sometime again in the future I'll be streaming for something. I've been going for a long time, and I've shared so much information. I'm surprised there's still 30 of you guys watching. Thank you for watching. But okay, this is now your final chance to go and enter for the xLights sequences giveaway. If you haven't already, subscribe to How To Pixel. Make sure you have public subscriptions enabled, because if you don't and I can't check that you're subscribed, I'm just going to have to pick another name because I want it to be fair for everyone that actually subscribed. And if someone says they subscribed but didn't, I want it to be fair. So, subscribe, go into your YouTube privacy settings and set hide my channels to off so public subscriptions are on, and then comment giveaway on the video pinned in the chat. And then I'll give everyone like 1 or 2 more minutes if someone hasn't done that yet. We'll catch up on some comments. Giveaway time, woo woo, yep. Your channel and shows are great, thank you. So what I'll do is I'm going to pick the 3 names. So I have this website up called YouTube Random Comment Picker. I'm going to enter in the link, enter in the keyword giveaway, and it's going to search for comments that have that keyword in it, and it's going to pick a comment. I'll read that name off, and then we'll go to the next one. I'll try to verify it live. I might not be able to, though. Oh, let me get this off the screen. That's kind of annoying me. I don't know if I'll have time to verify it live. So if I do pick these 3 names and then they aren't subscribed, I'll pick more names, and at some point I'll post a video or a post on the channel showing you how you can contact me to get the sequences. Your channels and shows are great. Thank you. I feel like I might have read that comment already. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Okay. So, gearing up for the giveaway. Once again, 3 people are going to win 3 sequences. I think I said 3. Now I can't remember if I said 3 sequences or 5 sequences. I think I said 3 sequences. I'll go back and double check in the video. You're going to win some amount of sequences that I've created. These sequences I sell on xlightsequences.com to help just support me, support the channel and stuff. And since I have the sequences anyway, I figure why not sell them too. You could pick from any year's sequences all the way back to 2022, as long as they're a Christmas sequence, since I don't have the Halloween ones up for sale or anything. And you could pick 3 from all 1 year. You could switch from different years. If you do pick sequences from 2025, those are almost ready. I don't have them packaged up just yet because I have to test some things with them to make sure when you import them, they work. So if you want 2025 sequences, you might have to wait a few more days. But yeah. Okay, I think we've given everyone enough time. So I am going to see if I can find the right button to hit here. Switch over. It could be that I am... Okay. So, monitor and camera. So here we have the link to the video up here for YouTube Random Comment Picker. I'm going to fetch all of the comments. I'm going to add in the keyword filter, or I forgot, I have to do custom filter for multiple filters. Let's see. We're going to do giveaway all caps, and then we're also going to... How do I add another one? Let's see. Giveaway all lowercase, and then... This is just the case. For some reason, it's case sensitive. I don't know if it is case sensitive. And I'll also do it with a capital G. Someone did that. So yeah. Now we're going to continue. It's going to load the comments. Okay, 73 comments. That is up by, I think, 11 comments. Earlier today, there was only 62 comments. So, let's see. I'm not sure if I'm set to public or not. I am subscribed, though. If you aren't, I will find some way. Let me think about this, how I can do this. If your name gets picked, I will figure that out when we get there. I see a lot of you putting giveaway in this chat. If you haven't put it, though, in the other chat, it has to be on the chat on this other video here that's linked in the comments. But I think we're just going to go. Drum roll, please. I don't have a drum roll sound effect. That's unfortunate. I really should have came prepared. Let's pick the first winner. Heath Lawrence won. I am new to xLights. I just started today, and your videos are helping a lot. And if I win this, it would help and mean so much to me. Thanks for your videos. Giveaway. Congratulations, you are one of the first 3 winners. Let me see. I'll try to open a window to verify that you are subscribed. If I can't figure it out right now, though, I will go through and do it afterwards to make sure. I did see this comment. Where was this comment? Okay. I can't easily find that comment right now, but I am going to write the name down. And I'll verify it later. Let me write this down. Heath Lawrence _1. Congratulations. You are the first winner. Can you tell us how to real quick? Okay, yeah. To enable public subscriptions, you have to go... I show how to do it in the video. Let me... You know what? I'll pull up my own YouTube video to play it because I don't know exactly... where it was. I had it in the video. So give me one moment, please, before we continue on. Let's see here. Oh, hey, look, I'm live on YouTube. And let's see here. Trying to figure out where it is. Okay. Oh, that's in full screen. I can't do that. There we go. Take that out full screen. I have a lot of windows open right now. There we go. We will make this full screen. Somewhere over here. Here we go. Yes. So, on YouTube, if I could get to the right part, you're going to click your channel icon. You're going to click settings. It's going to bring you to this page, and you're going to look for privacy. Click privacy, and where it says subscriptions, it's going to be enabled. It's going to say keep all my subscriptions private. Make sure you turn that off, and then that way I can see you're subscribed. So I'll give everyone a minute. Hopefully that should be enough to do it before I draw the last 2 names. So that's how you do that, though. Let's get back over here. So yes, Heath Lawrence 1 is the first winner, and now we will remove that. I have his name written down, his or her name. And then let's see here. 39 viewers. Thank you everyone for watching, by the way. We've been going live for 2 hours and 17 minutes. At 4 o'clock, I will do the next name drawing, which is in like 30 seconds, I'd assume, or something. It's 3:59 right now. 4 o'clock EST. And on phone, I don't know how you do it on phone. If your name gets drawn and you aren't subscribed, you can still reach out to me, and I will have some sort of way so you could provide proof that you are subscribed. And if not, I will draw another name then, and I'll make a post saying something happened, here's an extra name that won. So if you can't get it right now, it's not the end of the world, but yeah. Okay, second name. Drum roll, please. And I'm not even going to try and say this name, but congratulations to this person with just saying giveaway in the comments. You are the second winner of the xLights sequences. I'm going to write that down here, and I'm literally just going to copy and paste that because I'm not even going to try to type that. Congratulations. Got it, but yours was different. Okay, that's good. One more winner, the final winner of the xLights sequences. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Luchness DU9CT. Congratulations. You are the third and final winner of the xLights sequences. Thank you everyone for commenting and entering the giveaway, and I'm glad that I could share some of my sequences. If you didn't win, but you're still very interested in them, there will be a video, probably the next one, that is going to be explaining how you can purchase them. They're not super expensive anyway. They're all under $20. So yeah, but thank you everyone for entering the giveaway. Congratulations everyone. Congratulations. Many thanks from France. Thanks for your live and videos. No problem. Thank you for watching. So let's take a look at the awesome list of events we did today. I think we could do a little bit of Q&A for a bit before we finish up. Just some chatting. GG's in chat. Yep. I'm looking at your moving heads and wondering about the case you made for them. Are they waterproof? Yes, they are. They are siliconed. They have weatherproofing on them. You will see in the behind the scenes when I finally get the chance to make them. So yeah, I think we're going to put ranking all sequences for another day. Random light show advice for noobs. I guess we could save that for another stream too, since this one did take so long. But we could do some Q&A and just chatting. Also wanting the case video. Yes, I have a bunch of what the prop videos planned. It's just I got to record them when there's no snow. So there'll be a separate video just for the moving heads as well. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'll be willing to answer a few right now. You should make a reviewing other people's light show video. I think you have done this, but you can make a part 2. That is an actually awesome idea. I will put that down right now, actually. Yeah, that is a good video idea. I'll see where it falls, though, on my list of prioritizing other videos. I second that, okay? If you do, can you preview mine? You should make a reviewing other people's light show video. I think you have done this, but you can... Yeah. So, what I'll do, if I do make that video, is I'll have a way for everyone to submit videos of their light shows. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now, just chatting. I did have some other random things that I wanted to bring up, but I gotta figure out where I saved them. Yeah, so I'll wait for any new comments, see if we get any new comments while I figure out where I put these extra things to chat about. Oh, here we go. So I talked about selling light show stuff. I talked about the light show in the future. I'll cover that again and I'll talk about the end of the light show, why that is too, because I have never fully answered that. If you had to start over with no lights or controllers, what would you do differently? Ooh, that's a good question. If I had to start over, I mean, I feel like I wouldn't do anything differently, because even though there are mistakes that were made, and I can't think of them right off the top of my head, but even though there were lots of mistakes. I feel like they were used to learn. I was able to use them to learn something, so I could get like even better at some other part of light shows. I'm trying. There's nothing that sticks right out. I would definitely make sure to anchor things down better. Because I feel like if I remember correctly, I did have a giant tree tip over in the first year of the light show. That's not even on a video either, because there did used to be a giant AC Christmas light tree in the 2020 light show, but it wasn't in any of the videos though, because I recorded the show before I added that. Yes, no Bed Wars, unfortunately. I gotta go. Have a good time. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye. Tell my wife we can't afford that, lol. Okay. Let's see here. How do you know what effects go with music and what effects go where? That is something I have a saying for it, kind of, that I haven't really told before, but that's something I feel like I can't teach. You have to just learn it. I feel like I figured out how to make good effects just by trial and error over years of making sequences. There's no perfect formula, and everyone has their own personal preference for sequences. I'm going to turn that off because that's attracting me again. There's no personal preference, or words. Wow, I can't like think and talk at the same time. Everyone has their own personal preference is what I'm trying to get at. And just because you make something that you think maybe it's not the best, to the average person that comes to your light show, they're still going to love it because it's still lights twinkling and it's unique and it's something they don't see every day. So yeah, I'm looking forward to your video on controlling low-cost projectors like you did with your snow globe. Do you have any idea when this will be released? Yes, so my video with the projector, there's going to be a little bit of it talked about in the full behind-the-scenes video, but there will be a full separate video for that. It's just whenever I can get the chance to record it when the snow melts. So yeah, this will save me a ton of time for this year's Halloween display. Yeah. Something cool. Oh, what was I going to talk about? End of the light show. Yes, I'm not going to get distracted. I'm not reading the chat until I finish this. So the reason the light show is coming to an end, the biggest reason is I feel like, what's the word? I had the word earlier. I had it in my head and I was like, this is the word I'm going to use. It's not sustainable. That's the word I was thinking of for the light show for me. Every year I've been putting in more and more and more and more and more time into it. And it has been getting to an unhealthy level amount of time to where it's no longer fun. The light show had just gotten to a point where sometimes I'd open up xLights and I'd be excited to program sequences. Sometimes I would be miserable. Now that I can see what came of the show, I'm very happy for all the time I put in. It came out as an amazing finale. But that's the first reason. It was not sustainable for my health to just be putting in so much time into it. And I feel like I wouldn't be able to... I don't think I would be able to just take a small step back and be like, okay, I'm going to decrease the show a little bit. I don't think I would even be able to do that. I just needed a whole break from it. So that's why there's not going to be a big light show for a while. I'm still going to put up lights because that doesn't take too much time. And I'm going to reuse sequences, but it's not going to be anywhere near as big. So that's the first reason, though. It's just unhealthy, unsustainable. The second reason is, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm actually in high school. I'm in my senior year, so next year I'll be heading off to college. But because of that, that's going to take away so much time that I have for working on light shows. So I feel like I also have to end the light show because those are two things I don't think I'd be able to balance. So that's the second thing. Third reason, and I thought about this wasn't as big of a reason, but I always hear about people having to end their light shows because there's too much traffic in front of their house. Their neighbors started to get miserable or XYZ. I wanted to end the light show on a good note while everyone still enjoys it, not end it because there's now too much traffic or because the neighbors hate it. I feel like I ended it at a perfect time before it got too big, if that makes sense. And just because I'm done with this doesn't mean I'm forever putting lights away and never touching lights again. I feel like this just gives me the opportunity now to look into doing bigger things with all of these skills that I have. Now I will look at chat for a second to answer some comments about this. Since you are done doing shows at the house, are you going to be doing them at college? I'll answer that in a second with a different bit of information. Give me 1 second. But first, I always say I'm done adding new things. However, every year I go to the clearance section after Halloween and buy more. This year I bought maybe another 8 inflatables, bringing up Christmas up to 30. Yep, that's relatable. Always say I don't know if I'm going to add that much more to the show, but then I go and buy a bunch of moving heads and light up the sky. Do you have a vendor that you like to go to buy the pixel mounting strips that go around the windows? I used to only go to Biscoyo, BiscoyoStudios.com, I think is the website. But now a lot of other people sell similar strips like Wally's Lights, Gilbert Engineering, and I'll just go wherever the price is the cheapest because they're all the same basically. We made ours out of corrugated plaster from Home Depot. That's cool. Plastic. Okay. Yeah. So to answer the other question though about doing light shows at college, and this is also something really cool that I wanted to share too for the stream, is I, as of yesterday, got accepted to RIT College, Rochester Institute of Technology, and that's where I'm planning on going as long as I could figure out all of the financial end of things. But they also have a performing arts program, which I didn't think I'd qualify for because I thought like, oh, that's like singing or playing an instrument or something. But they also want people with technical skills too. And so many of these lighting skills can apply to live show lighting too. So that could be something in the future. I don't know. But there's an answer to that question. So yeah, thank you for the congratulations. What major? I'm looking at engineering technology exploration. So I can look at so I can go around looking at a bunch of their engineering technology programs and then figure out which one I like the most. Because there is so many different areas to technology and I don't even know fully yet which very specific one I want to do. So yeah. Is there a good time to buy pixels, controllers, props, like post-season sales or something? Yes, buy your light show stuff literally right now or within now to March. Like, there's lots of people or lots of vendors that do huge sales in January. Like, you might be thinking, oh, I need a break from the light show. No, start thinking about your next light show and then take your break in, like, springtime after you have parts bought for your light show. Many places have pre-sales that could save you money. Yeah. Wow, actually more than 11,000 subscribers. Really nice. I remember your 50 subscriber video as if it was yesterday. Got some nice inspiration from your videos all over the years. Thank you from Germany. Thank you for watching that long. And I wish I kind of did something as cool as I did at 50 subscribers. That little light show for 50 subscribers. But yeah. So that is probably going to finish it up for today. 2.5 hours of streaming and I am tired now. Any other last questions before we finish up? Lighting engineer or designer? I honestly haven't fully decided yet, and I'm hoping that I can look into this a bit more while at college. So that's something I'm gonna figure out. I've learned so much from your videos. I wish you the very best. Thanks for all of your great videos. Hey, have you thought about projection mapping? That might be an avenue to explore while reducing setup time and a lot of the behind the scenes work. Yes, but my house feels really small. I might do it. I'm not 100% sure about that. And also, thank you for congratulating me on getting to RIT. Thank you for everything. No problem. Thank you, everyone, very, very much for watching. Thank you for entering the giveaway. I will have a post or a video either tomorrow. Yeah, probably tomorrow. It probably won't be today. It will be tomorrow about how they could contact me and we could verify that they're subscribed and everything. And yeah, but that is going to conclude it for this live stream. Thank you everyone so much for watching, whether you're watching live now or on YouTube after. This video, since it is 2.5 hours long, it's going to take a lot of editing. It may come before or after my next video I have about importing sequences. So this will be edited into a shorter video at some point. I'm not sure when. It's whenever I get the time. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.